everyone, and welcome back to Adulting Done Right. If you are joining us again, welcome back and thank you so much. If you are joining us for the first time, welcome to Adulting Done Right. My name is Ginger, and at Adulting Done Right, we're really here to help and share our experiences, both the awesome and maybe the not so awesome experiences of adulting with you guys, so that hopefully we can all learn from our experience. Some of you are probably thinking, but I'm already adulting. I don't know that I really need to watch this, and you may not. But I know throughout my life, I've always encountered situations that are new and unknown, and I've always looked for a model in those times. So maybe you need a model. Maybe you need some help. Maybe you don't. I don't know. But if you're still watching, let's see. So today I'm gonna talk about my experience working for Apple. And part of why I wanna talk about this is because I learned a lot of really great things while I was there. I worked for the company for 4.5 years, and I ultimately left for various reasons, but I am so glad for that experience because of all of the things that I learned from that experience. And I wanted to share those with you guys because I think as millennials, we can find a reason to be unhappy with just about anything, right? We want things now, we want them when we want them. It's kind of like this lack of patience meets instant gratification, and it just combines into this terrible thing that causes us, I think, to feel unhappy with a lot of the things in our life. And when really we shouldn't be that way, or we should learn to have a little bit more patience. Because, and I've said this before, we often overestimate what we can do in a short period of time, like a year, but underestimate what we can accomplish in 5 to 10 years. And we get in this habit as millennials that we want things now and we want things when we want them because that's how we grew up. That's what was given to us. We were told, if you want something, here's something now, have it. But that's not the way that things work. And there's a lot to be said for the journeys that we go through in life. So, getting into my experience and my time with Apple and what I learned from it. So, the first thing that I learned from Apple that I am incredibly appreciative of is I learned how to communicate, right? And you may be thinking, but I know how to communicate. I have friends, I have family, I know how to talk to them, and that may be true, but all of us can probably stand to be better in the way that we communicate with people. While at Apple, I learned how to really relate to people, how to use empathy, how to give and provide, how to provide and how to accept feedback in a constructive way and without emotion attached to it. Because that's ultimately, and more than often than not, what we have our reactions to and why things hurt when we do receive feedback, if it's negative. Feedback can be positive, but specifically negative, right? And why it can be so painful at times for some of us to take. But I learned so many things that were applicable in a work setting, but that are applicable in everyday life. And the awesome thing about working for a company like Apple and working for Apple specifically is that they realize that communication and the way that you relate and handle and interact with people is vital to the success of the business and of individuals. So they truly take the time to invest in training people how to communicate and interact with each other. Second thing I learned from Apple was the importance of knowing the game that you're playing. And I did a video the other day about the game we're all playing and relating it to life in general. But in business as well, it's important to know the game that you're playing. And this was not something that I realized so much while I was there, but that I realized more after the fact, and having worked different jobs and just observed different industries. Apple knows which game it's playing. The goal of the company has always been to enrich people's lives to be better than they were before, to constantly push the envelope on how they can better life for individuals and for people, how they can improve education. Really, you think about it, or you name it, that's what they're trying to do. And the awesome thing about Apple is that their internal dialogue and actions match their message to the world. Whereas not all companies do, right? Companies have a grand mission statement. Our goal is to provide better service, better products, better commitments to our customer. However, their internal dialogue and their internal actions are reactionary, meaning that they are responding to not the customer, but the other businesses in their industry, which ultimately doesn't help you in the long term, right? The goal of being in business and the goal of a business is to stay in business. And when you're trying to do that, it's important to know which game you're playing. And I'll link some stuff if you guys want to check out more about that. Number 3 that I learned is the grass isn't always greener on the other side. As I said, as millennials, we can find a reason to be unhappy with anything. If you speak to most of us, we probably have been job jumping from job to job to job in hopes of hitting the career jackpot. But we fail to realize that you're never going to hit the career jackpot. You have to put in the work to getting there. And putting in the work does not mean putting in the time, right? Those are two different concepts, which we'll talk about next week. But just remember that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. You may leave a place because you feel like you're not making an impact, you're not making a difference. Maybe you're not fond of the management or whatever, XYZ reason, could be anything. Ultimately, you're unhappy and you're placing the blame on them. But really, what are you doing to make the situation better? But you'll ultimately find that you get more satisfaction from the journey and work that you put in than from jumping from one fire to another fire, because that's ultimately what you'll be doing. Remember, when you're in and whenever you're doing anything, you want to help to pull the rope up, not be the one weighing it down. And if you're the one weighing it down, you're the one that's not helping to change the situation, when really that's what you should be doing, and that's what we should all be doing. And that's a shift that I've made recently. The 4th thing that Apple taught me that I am incredibly appreciative of is how to be a leader. I worked with so many amazing people while I was there. I saw so many people that I wanted to help make their vision become a reality, because they were that inspiring, right? They took care of their people. Apple taught me what it is to be a leader. Not what we think it is to be a leader, but what it actually means to be a leader. And I think that oftentimes we assume that managers and those that are above us, or if we are managers, we assume that because we are in these higher positions that we are the leaders, but our actions don't warrant people actually wanting to follow or believe in our leadership. Which brings me to number 5, which is Apple also helped me realize that you do not have to be in a leadership position to be seen as a leader. And this is probably the one thing that I am incredibly grateful for, and the thing that I have put into practice daily, or that I attempt to put into practice daily, because it is a daily practice. But I realized that you don't have to be in a leadership position to be seen as a leader. I recognized this, and I knew that I wanted to be considered for opportunities within or outside of Apple, wherever I was. But I realized that in order to be seen as a leader, I had to, it was kind of a multi-step process. But in order to be seen as a leader, I had to help my leaders. How did I do that? I helped eliminate or alleviate, I feel like, some of the burden from their shoulders. That doesn't mean that I did their job for them, but that means that I allowed myself to be seen as a resource. How I did that was taking a genuine interest in people and genuinely listening to them, genuinely caring about what they had to say. And the moment that I realized that, and the moment that I made that switch, you could instantly see the way that people responded to me was different. I remember that I would constantly make an effort to say hi to people and ask them how they were doing, even if they weren't somebody that I was particularly close with. And I genuinely listened to them, because once people understand that you will genuinely listen and you genuinely care about what they have to say, then they'll start coming to you when maybe they have a question, or maybe they have something that they're unsure of. And it wasn't that I had all of the answers, but it's that I was willing to help them in any way that I could. And because I did that, I started to be seen as a resource in the building. And I was approached about opportunities. And that's how it worked. And it's something, like I said, that I continue to do daily and continue to practice. How can I constantly be showing people that I have a genuine interest in them? How can I be seen as a resource? How can I be seen as the leader that I would want? Something to think about. Guys, I hope that you found this interesting. Like I said, had a lot of really great experiences from Apple. These are the top 5 that I took away from them. If you'd like to read the related article, I will post that below, or you could go to Adulting Done Right to check it out. I've also linked some other resources there for you if you are interested. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If it's something that you liked or something that you found interesting, definitely make sure you subscribe or follow us or leave a comment, whatever you feel inclined to do. Thank you so much for joining us, and until next time, we'll see you later. Bye.